So hello and welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne. We're live from the Full Speed Events studios down in the Old Beer Cellar studios. The carpet one just currently in use for a little bit of recording. It's going to be a cracker tonight. We are in to November. Happy new month, first of the month, and it's Gritty month. So we have the support of Gritty, the sustainable sports apparel producers and suppliers who are based in the East Midlands, who are headed up by Caroline and Neil as our key supporters of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. And without the support of the guys who make it happen, it just wouldn't happen. So without 1080, without OCE, Velaskin, Halo, Continental and Nonnas looking after people who donate to the DCG gang, and that DCG gang wouldn't be as big as it is, and it wouldn't allow Russ and myself to keep on putting this out. It basically covers the cost. We're not going to get rich on it. In fact, we're just about going to cover the cost with it. But that is the whole point. We really enjoy doing it. We absolutely love having a whole load of fun and providing a platform where you can get out and ride and see whether you can get to the go point or whether you can get beyond it. Now, because it's Gritty Month, we thought had a little bit of a head scratch, and Russ has done some serious digging and planning, and I got to say, he's come up with some absolutely cracking routes, some brand new spankers that are event only that a lot of people won't have ridden. And you can see there's a lot of yellow text just down there, and all that yellow text is all about what it is. Being on the right bike today is going to be absolutely key to the ride. So let's have a look at the map, courtesy of Zwift Hacks. You can just see it up at the top there. We come in at the Pens. We take the tarmac section of road up to the top of the climb. We then drop down into the upper section of Serpentine 8, which we've used, and the jungle loop that we've used. This is just the upper section. And the key pointer that everybody needs to look out for is this stone arch in the jungle. So if we take a little bit of a look at that in more detail, and you can see Ross, the man who's doing this one up, is looking on. He's our yellow beacon today. We come over the top, we drop down in, and then we come alongside, and we're basically going to do what is a clockwise loop 6 times. Each loop is 6.1k, totaling 40.7k. And we then finish at that arch in the jungle. I'm hoping that Matt is on, Matt, and our official lap counter for the Chaingang, because he's going to be busy tonight. And of course, we always have our standard warm down. That's 1.3 kilometres, and that takes you basically to the blue banner. That's just to spin your legs out. There's no prizes for coming across line first there. The key point is that stone arch. Total elevation 444 metres. I'm going to say that is approximate at this stage, because it isn't a route that we've done regularly, in fact ever, and that is going to test our riders. And because it's a gravel, I expect the red bus is going to be busy. So we've picked a picture of Andy. Good to have Andy Hawes Tours, the man who's behind the routing of the Tour of Britain. He's our red beacon tonight. He's in his red Assos kit, because he is, of course, an Assos ambassador, with his Oakleys on his head as well, as you'd expect. Slightly mud splattered and gravel splattered there is our Andy. So great to see that he has embrace the gravel and the grit 100% here, and I think his bus is going to be a busy one tonight. Now, key here is about making sure you got the right bike because of the amount of gravel, but let's add in something even more to the mix, because of course Gritty want to make you think about what you're doing with your climate, what you're doing with your impact. What, are you actually be a big problem, or are you actually helping out, making things happen and solving issues? So, for example, have you thought about what you're riding and where you're going to go and how you're going to get there? Well, today you got to think about what you're going to ride, because it is a hilly circuit. And when I went onto VeloView and looked at the profile, I actually unpacked this quite a bit. It really is tough stuff tonight, because it's not just the added resistance of the gravel, it's also about this. There is no straight line other than the bridge through the base of the Mayan jungle. The circuit, as you can see, we're going to join it at its highest point at about 4.5k in. We then drop down over the rope bridge. That is between 4.5 and 5k. And then we'll run round. It's a steadily descending gravel road until we hit that start point of the lap. We then descend down with a sharp right-hand turn down through the hairpins, down into Mayan, across the Mayan Gorge, over the bridge, coming through the old Mayan ruins, climbing up as we come up on the 1.5, 2k, 2.5k. And in fact, it's only when you get to about 3.25k does it start to level out a little bit, with a slight respite between 3.5 and 4k. But then there's some more kicks in there. You can see that by the colours of the gradient. If you want to be able to find out more details, make sure that you jump onto the bike. It is key here to jump onto VeloViewer, jump onto your bike, go have a ride around, see how it feels. This will be tough. Full stop. Full stop, full stop, full stop. Absolutely key is make sure you have the right bike. If you're on that start line listening live and you're on an aero road bike, get off it quick. Get a gravel or a mountain bike. You will go quicker, I guarantee it, for less effort. Okay, so we're into our last minute, and you can see that our riders are just down on the start line. Looks like Russ just up on the front there. We're just going to take a little bit of a look down on to the riders here. So that pack up filling nicely. We should, I think, tick over that 100 marker. So a quick reminder, remember, please, guys, you will not see the front or the back if we go over 100 riders, but you will always be able to see our yellow and red beacons. Yellow, of course, Russ down in the man behind this genius route. And if you think this is entertaining, I know what's coming up all month. It's going to be cracking. Add in the mix the WOW DCG rides that are coming up as well. And we are going to have an absolute flyer of a month. Make sure that if you want to know exactly where you're heading, you join the DCG gang. We're into our last few seconds, so let's jump down into the ride here. Let's follow our riders out. At the moment, we're in with Gareth Licence, one of our key riders, a member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, and the riders starting to head out. It's going to take a little bit of a check back, and remember, today it's really key to keep everybody together, because those sections where you are going to get any kind of assistance are going to be limited. So the riders coming out of the pens, and we'll just throw our helicopter up in the air, and we're going to take a little bit of a check. I think one or two people just having a little bit of a stop there, just watching Mr. Licence as he makes his way out. I think Mr. Douglas is going to be our last rider. Don't worry about the fact he's not pedalling. He really is, because he's putting out nearly 4.8 watts per kilo. Here he goes. So the rider's on the way up towards the top of the climb, the pass that takes you down in towards the jungle here on the Donny Chaingang. Our rider's looking good at the moment. Let's see who is going to be able to take this out. Who's going to be able to stay with the gang? When will Russ choose to pull the pin? And at what point does this man, Horse Tours man himself, Andy Horse, well equipped on that bike. Interesting to see he's gone for the full gravel option. Those wider tyres to cope with the off-road terrain there, and that is going to be a very smart move, I suspect, as we make our way down. At the moment, Andy just checking that everybody's out. I think everybody, with the exception of our full speed events Avatar, off from the start line. So bye-bye, Avatar. Time to take a look at the gang and just check everybody is moving smoothly. I think Gary Licence just behind, just having to put in a bit of a push here to get into the group. Come on, Gareth, give it some digs. A cracking little route, this. I've ridden all these roads on Zwift, but I've not done them as part of this loop because it is only an event-only option to do it in this format without doing lots of right-hand turns. I've done a few of those just to check them out, I must admit. I've always done this as part of Serpentine 8 or as part of the Jungle Loops. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Some cracking routes, all part of Gritty Month on the Donny Chaingang. Gritty, of course, supporting us from the word go. Got to say a massive thank you to Neil and Caroline. Their support has really been very, very popular with the riders as the gravel kicks in and the dust starts flying. If we drop down into the pack, I think you're going to find that things are very, very different from what you're seeing here just with one rider. If we drop into the back of that pack, and there you go. You go down into down at the floor. You can't see the front. You can't see the back. What can you see? You can see the big pillar of light that is our beacon, and that is key. Remember, seeing where the beacon is, staying around that beacon. So we're going to drop in. You can see the red beacon at the back just starting to sweep in. And we're going to take that left-hand turn on the drop round that left-hand sweeper. We're going to go down through and over the rope bridge, over the wooden bridge, and then we start climbing. And when we start climbing, that is when things get very entertaining. Because as you go up on to the rope bridge climb, it is actually a nasty little kicker. We then drop down, and we've got to make sure you know exactly where this finish is. So having a smart little bit of a recce on the way down, using those camera angles to get yourself a good look around. It may well be that if you can't see in your standard avatar, so let's stay with Jeff, for example. So Jeff at the moment, not too bad in that dust, but if this is Jeff's standard view, amazing what you can see when you take your drone camera out a little bit further and you can see a little bit more. Don't forget, of course, that you can always use all of your keys. So basically, if you're thinking about what keys do, 0 is your drone cam. That will move you out and about. Number 1 is your standard avatar view. Number 2 is the same thing but closer. Number 3 takes you into first person, which just about nobody uses that I know of. 4 is the nice side shot. Number 5 is the camera down on the floor option. Number 6 is looking back at what's behind you, and at the moment that's our red beacon. Number 7 is our fantastic panel through action shot, as if you've got your very own tracking cam that you're just overtaking, as we see Jeff go through. Number 8 is, of course, our helicopter shot. Absolutely useless for most people when they're riding, but nice to have a look at. There's some great shots. And number 9 is the magic cable cam. Now, most cable cams, as Neil from Gritty will tell you, only work in a straight line. This cable cam is rather magic because it works all the way through. So our riders onto the rope bridge, big drop down below them here. If we take a little bit of a look off the side there, you can see it's a long way down and there's not a lot between our riders and thin air. Anyone with first gear, look away now. So Jeff on to the climbing. This is a 7% kick. We're just going to pull up over the top. Nobody cutting the ropes on the way through, and we go in through the stone arch. So the group are moving along now. One of the reasons we don't do very many gravelly type routes and off-road routes is because it requires a lot of practice for our riders to keep it together. It was really key that everybody has this done, and it's not in the slightest bit easy. So it does require everybody to know exactly what they're doing. Now, we're going to run from the back of this group. We're going to take a little bit of a run up towards the front for no other reason than I want to be able to see where we're coming into our stone arch. So the stone arch is a key point in this, and that is quite simply because it's going to allow us to see what is coming up. So we're going to take our drone cam slightly higher. So as we roll down, we're still on our warm-up, basically still on that lead in at the moment. So just taking our little swings and turns. Remember, we do the right-hand turn. It's when we go underneath the stone archway that we actually come in to the lap finish. So keeping a real close eye out for that one, because that is going to be really key today as to where we are going to finish each lap and where the ride finishes officially. And it's round this sweeping left-hand bend. So it should come into sight, and here we go. So this is our lap finish. Our start finish of the lap is there. That is the point when you have actually now officially completed the lap, when you went underneath the arch with a little point over the top. So everybody's now out onto lap 1. So our finishing line underneath that archway with the little bit of a point to the arch, a very minor arch there, the only solid arch on that descent. Now we're going to take our right-hand turn, and this will take us down onto the descent. Now we've got a big sweeping hairpin turn coming up. You can see our red beacon already being distanced. We knew Andy was going to have a busy day at the office. You can see the dust really is taking people out, and this big group comes sweeping round this bend here, and they're going to go over onto these flagstones, over the bridges that help support the roadway where the ruins have broken down. And you can just see as these riders descend, they're going to be making their way around. We've got another tight left-hand turn coming up, and then the riders will be heading back towards our camera once again, and heading in towards the bridge way out and across. So you can see these hairpin turns just taking the riders in and through, and you can see the wooden bridge across the base of the basin here, with the ruins either side. In the distance, you can see the top of the mountaintop KOM. The epic KOM is actually at the top of the climbs. We've got our Alpe d'Huez top just in front of our riders. The climbs in the background. That's our KOM. So the epic KOM there with the towers in the background, and the one with our two statues on top. That's the Alpe d'Huez. Just in the background at the moment. So now on to the climb proper, and this is where things are going to get very interesting indeed, because these riders now are on this ascent, and this is where things get tough, and you're going to see who has got the power to stay with this group, because remember, this is not going to be easy in the slightest for most of our riders. So riders onto the climb, making the way up. The group just about holding together at the minute. If we take a little helicopter view, you can just see Andy Horse, our red beacon, just sweeping his way in towards those ruins as the yellow beacon starts to make his way up this climb. Apologies for the slightly squeaky voice. Every now and then it's going to go quite Mickey Mouse. It was a very busy weekend. If you didn't watch the racing from Mass Mechlin from the cyclocross, make sure you give it a watch. Absolutely cracking one to commentate on some real battles and fights in there that were really not necessarily very typical of all cross, because not all cross ends up in such a great battle, but it certainly did that this weekend. But the cross very good, so apologies if you get the odd squeaky moment from me, but actually covered the esports Sunday finals that we covered, the Sunday race finals that we cover on a weekend here at Full Speed Events. With its huge $96,000 prize fund. And then from there, Emma continued with that one, and Emma commentating on the women's finals, was commentating on the men's, and over to the women and men's UCI event. We have got quite a lot coming up, and please be aware, we're not going to be covering absolutely everything on the show. Not every ride will get coverage, just quite simply because there are paying gigs that we have got a commitment to cover. So the riders at the moment here on the way round. You're with me, Matt Payne, on the Donny Chaingang. And at the moment, absolutely motoring. Looks like Russ having entertaining moments with at least one person. I can put bets on who that is, but we'll see. So the gang are climbing at the moment. We're going to take a little bit of a run across when we can, just to check out the road a little bit further down. Just trying to work our way back through past Mr. Hooker here, just dropping in. It looks like Dave Robertson just pushing on at the back of this group. Well, Donald can never remember exact names. So Rodney just tucked in with Andy Horse. Claire Jessup just in front. Claire, by the look of it, on a gravel bike. Good move, Claire, on the Canyon gravel bike there. So Rodney on the Tron. So always one of those key things, knowing that you've got the right bike is pretty much key. So they're just in trouble. Remember, if you are riding on the wrong bike, you have until 1/2 to change it, because you can change your bike and then do an exit and a back in. So you can come back in again. What I suggest you do is you stop, you change your bike in the garage, then you rejoin the ride if you are not on the right bike for the circuit. You've got a good indication now of exactly what you've got in front of you. So it will pay to know exactly what you're doing. A quick reminder, we are now 114 riders, which means that if you're on the front of the group, you are not going to see where Andy Hall's in the back of the group. You should be able to see the red beacon, you should be able to see the yellow beacon, but you won't necessarily see where everybody is. And at the moment, we're just riding in with Andy, our red beacon, on this stage of the climb. So just taking a little flick through the numbers. Looks like everybody behaving themselves. Russ managing to keep the group together. It is a very difficult task, and this is actually part of the key skills, because when you do come to race, if, for example, you've registered for the Zwift Racing League, the ZRL, and if you haven't done so, you have to do so today. I think it's the last choice, so it is really key to make sure that you've registered for that immediately. If you are in the gang here, make sure that you've registered for that. But if you're riding on that, there are plenty of occasions where the team at Zwift will throw you into the mix and on something like this course. And this is event only for a reason. Without giving too much away, it's going to be in use for events only until it's been used for a key, some key events on the run-up. It is one of those routes you really want to make sure that you've checked out if you're going to ride in events like that. And remember, guys, this is absolutely key. So remember, knowing where you're heading is essential. And as Russ just popped up onto the screen, don't forget to join the DCG gang. The DCG gang. So you get loads of benefits. We really do love to say thank you to our riders, and that is really essential. So we say thank you by getting you extra discounts on all sorts of goodies. From 1080, that can be Oakley shades, it could be the Oakley kit, accessories, baseball caps, etc. But of course, shades have been the main thing that Oakley are known for. Then, of course, we also have coming up some special offers coming from Continental. The team Shelley and Jeff on the ride regularly. Felixkin, of course, Andy Banks, and of course Chris Ida, regulars on the gang. They're going to be looking after people into the new year with extra special giveaways. But of course, there are discounts from all the way through. It's 20%. You can get 10% if you just help use one of your friendly riders' discount codes. But if you remember the DCG gang, you get the full 20%. We don't make a penny out of the sales. It's all about giving a big thank you to the riders who look after the gang. From Halo, of course, discounts, big giveaways. We saw the full set of kit going out to Tim Becks. Great to see him in that kit and on the social media. Basically, the next day, he had it before. I think we were onto our second giveaway. And then Rob Vardy taking away £200 giveaways in there. Don't forget, of course, Nonna's always looking after our riders down at Nonna's. Looking forward to heading down there pretty soon. Got a special birthday. Not mine, not Anna's, not Freya's, maybe Tim's. Tim's 21st, going to be down there for that. And of course, OT were looking after people at the start of the year with big discounts, a big giveaway. 1 in 4 members getting the equivalent of their membership donation back in the first month alone in that OTE week. And this month it's Gritty. You can see them up on your screen. So not only have we got the fantastic 20% discount off from the team at Gritty, and that includes basically everything except clearance. So whether you want to get the latest tyre checker, slip off lace, etc., you name it, you can get it. Whether you want the most sustainable, the most environmentally least impactful bit of kit that they can lay their hands on, even things like the tyre checkers, which are traditionally just a naff piece of plastic, are actually recycled filament. So it is as environmentally friendly as you can get, even for the things that look like they're made out of plastic. So guys, make sure you jump on there and use that discount code. And don't forget, of course, it's all that long till Christmas is coming. I hate to use the word, but somebody almost played the Mariah Carey Christmas tune today, and I would manage to turn it off very quickly. I think I beat them to turn it off on the way through. So a Gritty is sponsored, and a big Gritty giveaway coming up. We're going to have a big giveaway vouchers basically to spend at Gritty, and that is going to be for 3 lucky winners. So 3 members of the DCG gang will be taking away those discounts from us to say thank you. But just as importantly, you also get the heads up, because you get all of the links coming into your inbox. Generally come to you on the weekend before the rides. You'll also get reminders on the Tuesdays and generally the Thursdays of the links, the routes, where we're heading. The Swift Insider link, so you can go straight to the route and check it out. The Velo Viewer, so that you can look at the profile and what you're actually going to be facing, how big those hills are. So really is key to make sure that you are dialed in on that, because without being on there, you're not going to know, for example, that this was a gravel route necessarily. You weren't necessarily going to know exactly how hilly it was as well. So really is key to make sure that you know exactly what you're looking at and where you're heading on the way past. At the moment, our riders are pretty much all bunched up, and the group are working well. I'm loving the tales of getting the of all these silly questions. Basically, there's brilliant stuff. Who ended up going on this bit? Who got the right bike? Who didn't? Who chose? This is all about having a run workout. It is going to be tough. You're going to find it's going to really test you. And one of the things we've always said about the Donny Chaingang online is that it's there to get people to learn, to understand exactly how to ride on Swift, because Swift isn't all about smooth tarmac, just like riding in the worlds out in the atmosphere. Quite often you'll find yourself up against the mud. Sometimes you'll find yourself up against the dust. It's very reminiscent, actually, of the riders who are riding in the Gravel World Championships. Lucky enough to be on the mic for that for the UCI. And it was a real dust fest. It was like something out of a dry Paris-Roubaix or Strade Bianchi, where the amount of dust kicked up. And fortunately, you don't get that necessarily in most people's pain caves. If you do need to get it cleaned a bit more often. It's probably not very hygienic if this is why it's close, but looking good. Mr. Little using his gravel bike with 20 PSI. It's so much harder and really noisy. Love it. I hope that. Please tell me somebody actually chose to do that. If only that were the case. If only that were the case, rather than picking their bike tonight. So on the drop down, you can just see that group just starting to fracture open a little bit on this descent. Let's get dropped in with some stats in here. So it doesn't look like anybody's going too mad at the moment. Everybody just trying to get used to how it's riding, how the ride feels. Bobby Mason nicely tucked in with the group. Daisy Freer in here as well. Staying with that yellow beacon, which is absolutely key. Russell's known to keep it smooth on here. Tim Baggs in here. Tim, the winner of one of our Halo giveaways, and just about seeing through the dust. He's down in the blue. Let's see if we go up above him. There's less dust higher up. So here we go. It's going to be Tim Baggs going through, and great to see he's moving well. Just like he's going to take his bar bag off. I know. Like handlebar bags were so touring in the 80s. They really were. Short to know I had one. I could hold my hands up. Let's have a look. And this is where you get to see who knows what they're doing. Russ said trying to hold the wheels, but I can't see anything. Well, that is not very surprising. Just like the classics, it is indeed, Russ, and that is why we love it. It's something different. It's making people think. It's making people wonder what they're doing, how they're going to make it work. Where is everybody? How hard do they need to push? How easy can they go here? So the group just holding together. Just going to drop in with Andy. So the bus, I think, has formed. And they're just coming up to the end of the lap. That is the lap banner. It's actually a lot easier to see where that lap banner is when you're not in a cloud of about 90 plus people. So Andy, Sir Rodney and Mr. Robertson are the riders pushing at the moment in that group. So that's David Robertson, Sir Rodney and Andy in there. The looks to me like a couple of riders maybe just a little off the back of the main group here. So that's going to be Claire Jessup and Steve Cannon. And then I think it's going to be Kirkham and Donahoe. So Andy, you've got a few to go have a chase off here, and I think Andy's group are going to be pulling hard to get in there. Meanwhile, back at the main group, George Cooper. George, you've got sore legs, mate. George Cooper just on his way up the climb at the moment on the back of the group. And you can just see those riders dropping in and around. A quick reminder, of course, guys, you can't necessarily see everybody around you. We've got a lot of riders on the gang, so it does pay to know exactly who you've got around you and where the red beacon is and where, most importantly, that yellow beacon is, because it is all pile-on rust day. So just riding in with Andy Horse, 116 beats per minute, 84 revs per minute. So Andy leading our riders down this descent. You can just see them tucked right on behind. Interesting comment there from Gareth Mason, the fast cyclist, saying this course in the go moment has got a new FTP written all over it. I think it has, and I think it's one of the great things about this route actually, is it's a short, fast route. There are no power-ups on here. No power-ups on this route because there are no officially timed split areas on this route. So no official time splits on the way through, so there's nowhere to get it in there. Cut away, mate. I'm not breathing to make his heart rate that low. Yes, Andy, we'll cut away from you, mate. No problems at all. Just keep... we've gone. Andy, if you can't see anything, we've left you alone. I promise, honest God. Come on, we'll not be mean. So we're just going to take a little bit of a run up to Jason Kirkham. Jason is going to have the beacon charging behind him. He's about 27 seconds behind on the way up there. You just see that red beacon just about to come into sight. Steve Cannon and Claire Jessup. Come on, guys, time to work together. You may not think there's much draft on this, but I promise you there is. This route actually has a fair amount of drafting in here. Vin, you can see Vin on the gang, one of our key recruiters, including the legend that is the one and only Tom Lindley, courtesy of Vin Donahue. Vin's working well out the saddle here. And we've got Nick McDermott just hanging around the back of the gang at the moment. I'm loving the fact that people want a steamroll. You're not wrong, it would be a lot easier, wouldn't it? So riders on this climb. Nick McDermott just at the back of the group. Then we've got Mark Grant just in here. And this climb really does test the riders. It's not the easiest of climbs on the way up here. And just taking a little bit of a run through here. I got John Garfoot in here. John's going to be our red beacon on Thursday. John's got a bit of a beast of a route to deal with. Not going to let out the secret just yet because the members know and nobody else. But it'll be very interesting to see exactly how riders get on with that. Just taking a little bit of a run through. Got Mr. Finney in there. Got Daisy Freer tucked in nicely into this group at the moment. Not having any problems at all. Mr. Conley in here as well. Evening, sir. Good to have you back. So Martin here. just nicely keeping those revs at 92 revs per minute. So good pedal cadence coming from him. We've got Main in here. I'm just sure I've just seen the one and only Terminator just dropping back past us here. And just not 100% certain, but I think it's going to be one of the people along with Vin who's responsible for those in real life rides. T2, Terminator 2. It is Tracy Seeley, Terminator 1, of course, Maddie Smith, somebody with a steely reputation. And Tracy had the pleasure of going out actually for a spin with Tracy and Vin out on some of my favourite little roads to go out and riding on. And great to go grab a coffee with them and even some cake. Scary stuff. But the rider's working well at the moment. Tracy tucks in here nicely. And great to see back on the gang once again. Don's Clapper in here. We've got Jason Stevens, Jeff Florey. We've got Ted in the gang. Ben Kokian in here. Just taking a little roll up towards the front of this group. Steve Wilson in here, a man who should be very used to riding off-road at the moment. Got Campbell in here, got Ryan Crawley I've seen on the way through our capital. Got Greg Booker, of course. Booker riding well at the moment. Joe Munden in here, joining with our regulars on the Chaingang, regular in fact on the WOW DCG as well, riding 3 Chaingangs in a row. Remember, of course, tomorrow we're going on the WOW DCG. WOW DCG is the women only Wednesday Donny Chaingang, and that is going to be part of the Wartopia World, but we're going to be heading into the Volcano after party for the WOW DCG. So if you are one of our women riders, please do join in, jump on, whether you want an easy day after today and you want to spin around at the back and discuss everything and anything under the sun. There's a very vocal and chatty group always at the back, and then the front is absolutely brutal. And it's going to be led by Laura Lawson, the Aeonian rider, specialised ambassador, a regular rider on a brand new turbo as well, just for the occasion. So it's going to get his Donny Chaingang christening, I think, in on the WOW DCG tomorrow. Now, what I need to watch out for is Mr. Widowson, one of our regular riders in the gang, and definitely one of our real quick riders. Not all that far away. I keep seeing the man who I was talking to only yesterday, because we've recorded. Yeah, we've been busy again, recording another Crosscast. Great guest on the show, and Neil, of course, with the editing, and then as soon as he's got all that sorted and he's 100% happy, or as happy as you can be when you've got a show with myself and Neil and our guest chatting about cross, because it always goes on far too long. There's a lot of laughs. The Crosscast will be out very shortly. Make sure you tune in and jump on there. Really great show to record. It was great fun and very, very entertaining. And of course, Neil is known as Crosscast Neil because, of course, he's the host with along with myself, Matt Payne, of the Crosscast. But he's also from Gritty, our key sponsors and supporters of the DCG gang this month. So Neil in here, practicing what he preaches, getting off-road on the gravel bike there. Nice choice of group set on there, nice choice group set on that. Hopefully won't have very many problems with it. So Neil's saying, long show, there's no filler. There wasn't a lot of filler. I must admit, I was playing it back in my head. Normally when we do the show, there are bloopers, let's say, or things that we're going to cut out where we've maybe overtaught something. We covered a lot of ground in the Crosscast, in the recording. It could be long enough that you could actually listen to it through the entirety of a Donny Chaingang or 3. You might want to do it next time you're doing a spin around, and don't forget, of course, plenty of rides that you can do on the Turbo on Zwift. That means you can have a listen to the podcast. You can get it wherever you get your podcast from, whether that is Spotify, iTunes, Google. You can go onto the Crosscast website as well. That's supported by buymeacoffee.com. So if you think it is worth listening to, I hope you do, then please, guys, then make sure you jump on there. Again, it's another of part of putting back into the sport that we do here at Full Speed Events, and in fact Neil and all the team at Gritty, we've started the Crosscar 6 seasons ago. We're in season 6, and it was set up because the company that held the rights to the Continental Cross folded. And there was no coverage. You had to basically be a wizard with a VPN blocker to get any kind of coverage. And because of that, we decided what we'd do. We would, because obviously I needed to do that and for work, and Neil was very, very busy doing that because he's an avid fan. We were in there, and it really meant that we could cover a lot of ground. It's since grown, it's developed. Bruce Dalton was with us for a long time. Bruce off concentrating on the business at the moment, which means we've got rolling guests on the show. We have some great guests on there. We've got Ed Beechner Collins, that's Tom and May's coach, as well as a number of other roles. You can find out what else he does on the show, as well as Amy Perriman in the show before. We've had Alison Kinlock, who is, of course, the rider who was in charge of the last WOW DCG in the month of October. She was our yellow beacon there. We also have had, of course, Alex Forrester. So you can see, though, a little bit of a split develops here between the front group and the back group. A lot of dust and not a lot of riders. And if our riders are being attentive, they can see that up on the top of the map. You can just see that gap opening up. And the fact that he's putting, I think, because, there is indeed, you get a better view if you take your drone cam up. Makes life a little bit easier. So as our riders head round down onto the descent, 16.7k covered. We have Neil currently heart rate 98 beats a minute, just freewheeling and rolling his way down there. And the group's yo-yoing backwards and forwards at the moment. I'm going to just go to there is a big split actually behind Russ. Back here, and you can see there is a massive group actually just being distanced off the back of that lead group. So really key, guys, just because you get Russ back in there, don't put your foot on the throttle, because we've got a lot of people chasing at the moment in a secondary group here, working pretty hard to try and get back into the group. And they're going to need to keep pushing here if they're going to get themselves back in with the Rose. Just riding in with Daisy Freer at the moment. Come on, they keep pushing here. So this group with work to do at the moment. They are steadily shedding bodies. Our Red Beacon currently 4 minutes 45 behind. But you can see the work being done here to try and get back in. And I think Mr. Main just deciding that he's not going to get on there. Time to find yourself a group, buddy. Bobby Mason and looks like Turner. Looks like, is that Finley Hudson off the back? Come on, Finley, give him a toe up. You've got the legs for it. You know you have, mate. Tim Baggs pushing to get back in. So Baggs has made it. Scriven is just about to get on. Finley Hudson driving hard here, trying to pull back on Bobby Mason. Bobby, I just saw 5.8 watts per kilo there on a kick. Bobby Mason, 6.8, 6.7. So Bobby, he knows when he needs to push. He's ridden the Chaingang plenty now. And I remember when Bobby first came on, he was definitely one of those riders who came on and went, what the, when he came on. And now it's a what, I absolutely love it. And he's regular on the gang. One of the real nice guys of cycling as well. So let's have a little bit of a look. We've got the main pack up here, just about getting together. We're just going to take a little bit of a look back now off the back of this group. We're going to go back to Andy Hawes, then work our way forwards. Andy has his he has his bus load on board. Then you're going to find Steve Cannon and Claire Jessup and Mr. Westwood there on the descent down. Vin Donahoe is just on the climb out. Daisy Freer in front, making contact with that group. Really good to see Daisy's managed to make that back into the pack. As you can see, our Beacon just pushing his way in over that bridge. Westwood and Jessup in here. Vin has got dropout now. That's not good. Meanwhile, that pack just about getting itself back in some kind of organised shape on the way through. 21 minutes of riding. We've got more than that. 37 minutes of running. My apologies. Watching a late joiner. Nearly 20k on the clock. 19k coming up very shortly. Now, one man who's not had too many duties to perform so far, it is Jimmy Allen. The stand-in for Russ, the Wolf himself. Not had Jimmy in the pack as too much yet. I'm managing to just enjoy the rides. Well, enjoy is the right word, rather than having to run the ride, so to be able to talk and type and text and watch 16 things at once and answer messages and listen to the coverage. Now, I think pretty much most of the main group got back together again now. We'll just take a little bit of a look at the back here, at who is on the back here. We're just looking at Green. So Green is in here. Let's just take a little bit of a look behind. Can't see anybody behind on the maps. Can't see anybody behind particularly that's certainly not in danger of getting back on. Let's put it that way. Our nearest rider at the moment, not even showing them, so they're going to be on the descent down in towards the Mayan temples. So if we jump into our bus driver in with the one and only Andy Horse. That's Andy Horse, Sir Rodney Effing, and Mr. Robertson at the back. These group having the most fun, honest. Bus working well at the moment. It's good to see Andy looking after the riders. Andy, very experienced rider, of course. Some great pictures from Andy when he was out and leading the ASOS ride in around London and heading into the ASOS store in the centre of London. And an ambassador for Pinarello as well. He's also, of course, the route master when it comes to the Tour of Britain. So regular in control there. And at the moment, these riders are about to descend down in and take that turn. I can very quickly, by the power that is magic, jump to the front of the group, and the group nicely all over the road. That's what we want to see. Nobody ripping the living daylights out. The group, the pack are working well together. Everybody's still getting used to this. Here's a quick hint for you. Get used to it, guys. It's not going to be every ride, but there are going to be a few rides where it pays to know exactly what bike to ride. There's going to be a few rides that it's going to pay to do your homework and look at the route beforehand, look at the climb, look at what you've got facing you and where there is off-road and on-road sections. The whole of the pro peloton these days pretty much all taken. We've had Flanders Classics for years, we've had Paris-Roubaix for years, but with the introduction of even sectors in things like Paris Tours, you know, you've got gravel off-road sections in there. You've got gravel world championships being contested by some of the biggest road stars out there, people like Scan. It is really key to make sure that you do your homework. And it does give a little bit of advantage to the members of the DCG gang, oddly enough. And let's face it, we all just love riding bikes. And give me a little lane with a bit of grass down the middle, and you'll see me heading down that at about 100 miles an hour rather than riding on the main road any day of the week. And just checking out what's at the end of it. Occasionally it's a farmer with a 12 bore. I'll say, oi, get off my land. But every now and then we just discover some absolute gem that we've not realised existed before, which is even better. So our helicopter tracking our red beacon down the descent, the main pack on the climb here. And the riders are well away, making their way in through the jungle. Here on the Donny Chaingang, first ride in November. And our riders riding really well. So our riders over the high point, back where they came in to this circuit, and now on that run down towards the road bridge. Going to be making the way down towards that main section. And if we just take a little bit of a check out, there's a little bit of a rise here. If we're just in with Charlie Babbitt at the moment, and you can just see just on that climb. So it's like Scriven and Green Freer turn just starting to lose contact. Andy Hall's behind. You can see the back of this pack having to work. It's steadily shedding riders here. It is way tougher than most people realise. This course, it is not easy by any stretch of the imagination. You don't think you're going that quick, that fast, that hard, but you are. And you can see it's starting to shed riders off. The longer you stay in, the longer you get that draft on those downhills, the longer you get the assistance to the Chaingang, and the longer it is before you need to form a smaller group and chase behind the gang. Just in with the man who clearly enjoyed haloing far too much. It is Gareth Mason, who ghosted his way to wins time and time again, actually, in that Halloween week. And if it's any consolation to anyone who is missing their power-ups and their various assortment of assistance devices, don't worry. I guarantee on Thursday you will get more than you ever dreamed of. There are a lot coming up. There'll be lots of opportunities to be tactical about your power-ups coming on Thursday. The same is true of the WOW DCG tomorrow. Today, everyone's got enough to contend with riding on and off road. Never mind the fact you've got to try and rein in a certain Mr. Gareth. So great to see the riders descending when we can see them in the jungle here. You know, drone up and flying once again. And at the moment, the gang working hard on the way down. You see Gareth Mason just making his way down the left-hand side of that bunch. So hopefully people taking a note of where that finish is going to be. It's not all that far away. Remember, it's this left-hand turn that brings you down. This arch will be the finish here. Just going underneath it. You'll see behind our riders now. Hopefully everybody's being really focused on where they're heading. Remember, we're at 22.5k covered. Those people who are here from the start. Mr. Little clearly had been diving in his snack bag in between his top tube or like an old frame bag for a little bit of food on the move. Don't get it tangled in the hitched beard on the gravel bike. All the cliches coming out tonight. So riders continue to be dropped. Wallace, Green, Scriven, Turner, Freer, Mason, Jessup, Cannon. Sort of wild Sir Rodney. Looks like Robertson just ahead of the one and only Andy Horse, who's driving the bus at the moment. Really interesting that Russ saying you've really got to pay attention, you've got to concentrate. He's not wrong. So the riders on the descent with 23.4k into this route. Our riders absolutely motoring their way down here. And a quick reminder, you can see down there that with that helicopter on there, we have 6 laps in total. Finishes at 40.7k on that archway. So make sure you stay attentive, guys, because we are absolutely flying here on the gravel. It is going to be a rider who knows where that finishes, who's going to profit when we see Russ give the signal and our riders get unleashed. Well, looks like Hoach just with an issue. You see Mike Salkel back in again. So there's some Rob Varty, another of our winners on the Halo wheels right. Rob just tucked in here. Regular up at the front of the ride, as well as being somebody who we know has had the benefit. 200. 200. 20 quid. Got 200 quid. Want some of that. Unfortunately, he's only one, and going to be. I'm hoping he's enjoying spending it. I don't actually know what Rob actually is going to spend it on. I'm not privy to that information. Maybe you need to let us know. Is it going to be 200 dust caps, or is it going to be putting it towards a rather nice set of hoops to go on the bike? So more riders starting to be drifted off the back of the group. Really interesting to see that riders are starting to feel the pressure. The pace is taking its toll. And people like Lone Rider, one of our real regulars, don't get as much credit for being on as probably should do. Lone Rider, one of our real regular riders on the Chaingang. Great to see him always on board. And you can see that it really is doing damage this route. There's people shed all over the place. And I think it's not going to be long before we start seeing people catching each other on the way round. We're going to get groups coming together. We're going to have groups reforming. But at the moment, looking good. In with John Finney at the moment, looking like he's got this pretty much dialed. Tucked in the group, Mike Salkeld in here in the Ineos kit. Slightly different to the kit worn by the one and only PFP, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, in today's Koppenberg Cross. She didn't have the best of days, let's say. I'm not going to spoil it. If anybody was not watching, is going to play it back later, or when they're warming down, or maybe when you're having your OT recovery drink, then we'll not spoil what happened in the Koppenberg Cross. Great racing in the men's and the women's races, but it is really, really, really key to have a watch. Really fantastic racing, and you do need to keep an eye on what's going on. Yeah, Russ, I am hoping you are ramping this up, because it's getting quicker, and we are seeing lots of bodies. Chris Ball, Chris, good to see you back. I hope you've been smart. Let's have a look at that whole way. It's a long way up there. I hope you've keeping a little bit of an eye on that. I love the fact that Kim Little has put his age in here. Kim Little, 37 years old. To match those that say so-and-so, 11 years or 14 years. Good job I've not put mine on there. Scare a few people. I'd like to say it's down to moisturiser, but I look like I do. It doesn't. It's mostly rust. So 25.5k covered, 51 minutes in. Now Ruben McLarty in here. Ruben, I hope you've got your cross legs on, mate, because you might need them here today. That's going to be really interesting once we start the wind up, because when the trigger is given by Russ, this is not just a harsh grind, because what changes, it's really interesting when it moves up and down and up and down and side to side. It's totally going to change how it goes when the trigger is given. It's going to be more like power, ease, power, ease, power, ease, not a consistent. It's going to be really interesting to see how that then translates. Who's going to use that tactic and who's going to be pushing at a steady power and just letting the bike roll through. Great to see these riders. It is definitely grippy here. Can be like this road was done for a while. Actually, it's not true. I'm following my Strava's. This is pretty nice. So Briggs gone, Bailey's gone. Cooper just tucked on the back here. Martin Connolly in here. Ben Cokin, Forbes, Donahoe. Rich Langmead's in here. John Garfield. Looks like Bertie Widdowson just taking a little bit of look. Look at Bertie Widdowson, 62. Tom Lindley, you've changed. Politics too high for me at the minute. Once upon a time he raced on for you. Right. Taking a look over the top. Interesting to see this group. It really has whittled down. We're coming into this turn here. It's one of the few points where we actually get the helicopter up and above. And you can see just coming around this turning point here. So remember, we started off about 117 riders. And just going to take a little bit of a check back, see how many we've got in this group. I make it. We have about 50, 72, there it is. Ooh, here we go, weird maths day. Let's have a little bit of a check. 74 riders left in the group, just about. 74 riders. 74 riders in there. Out of 117, so you can see how much damage has been done already. Well, Neil, a real Donny Chaingang addict, well and truly glued to this at the moment. He's still in there. Well, I don't think he's actually in there. Loving the fact that when we have a gritty week, everybody sees it going through. Attrition through the roof. It is, you're not wrong. It is a war of attrition out there. Look at this, you see, right having to do some serious power trying to kick in, and then the elastic snaps, and off they go. Now, can Rich Langmead and Mr. Little, come on, big push down this, and then you can drive in to the climb. Use that momentum. Momentum is key off-road, it's key on gritty stuff, it's also key when you're coming down over this bridge. Carry as much momentum into the... And the go-go-go is gone. The go-go-go is gone. Everyone was wondering what they would look like. Well, the flames would look like when we hit the grit and the gravel. Well, you can see they're getting absorbed by the dust and the dirt, and this is going to smash it to pieces. There's going to be nobody left. This is just going to be carnage everywhere. Would that be satisfaction in my voice? It might be just a little. Mostly I'm not sat in here right in the middle of this riding it. So here we go. You can just see this pack thinning out at the moment. On the map, it's one long line. It has been a super duper sticky blob. It's not anymore. And look at this. The power is on, but this is where things get interesting, because it's not necessarily those people who are just pure power monsters who are going to get this, because it is a rough off-road ride as well. I think Russ is saying now he can stop, or I can stop typing, not O can stop typing. But we'll see. So here we go, just working our way through here. Dick Moore looks like Joe Munden, just being a little bit distance here. Paul Coleman, John Garfoot. There you go. Mike Sauerkeld, Little Ted, Langmead gone. Conley's gone, Bayliss has gone, Cannon Johnson's gone. Look at the groups. Now this is what we talk about. Find yourself a group of like-minded souls. Smash yourself to pieces around the circuit on the way through. Mr. Lindley, you need to do your maths. Do your maths, mate. So underneath to go. Russ, he's giving it away. 2 to go. So a real tricky trigger point. The go-go-go is gone. And I think we are going to take a little bit of a run up the road here, because this is our yellow beacon group at the moment. And they are going to be fast approaching the Red Beacon group, who are actually going to be in front on the course. Not by very much, to be honest. In fact, here we go. We're going to jump in with Andy. So Andy's our Red Beacon group. They are just on the way down these twists and turns. If you look on the map, top right-hand side of your screen, you'll see that not all that far behind is a certain Mr. Russ Downing, who is our in a yellow beacon and is in that leading the group on the descent at the moment. So this is going to get very, very interesting today. So here they come. They're on the way down. They're chasing like mad to try and stay in the group. They're just riding in with Finley Hudson, one of our youngsters in the group. They're coming in towards the bridge. They're about to come sweeping up on our Red Beacon, who is around this right-hand turn somewhere underneath the bridge. So here they come. It's going to be like being in the middle of a washing machine, I think, at the moment. So Andy Hawes is saying, stay around me. This is going to get really, really tricky for just about everybody. Here they come. They're going to be up on to the side. You can see them coming through. And the Red Beacon now gets a grandstand view as this group come charging in and through. Andy holding that group together nicely, giving out those instructions. And I think Andy could well be picking up some bodies who are maybe a lap in front, being distanced out the front. Now we're on this kicker. Remember, we have got less than 2 laps left to go. We're at 30.3k. And the pressure is on. Interesting to see here that Fionn Gilbert in here looking like she's going to be running very, very smoothly up this climb in that leading group. The Electric Spirit team here just taking our way up towards the very pointy end here, and just going to try and work out. I think it is Greg Booker. Look at this. Booker leading them up this climb. Then it is going to be Cameron Fraser. Good to see that we've got Cam back on board. Cameron, one of our real regular riders and one of our fast men who we know could be in at the kill. Harry Hudson in as well. We've got Foden, Cassidy. We've got Williams, Evans, Linley, Hepton, Crawley. Really is the who's who of who has ripped it up on the front of the gang over the past few months. Let's see who's going to be able to take this out. Cracking riding here today as these riders continue to push. So Hudson, Booker, immediately behind Fraser. And it's going to be Brackenridge in position for lead chaser behind that leading group. Then Cassidy, followed by Evans, Williams, Hepton, Sammy B in the mix. So is Phil Oliver, Hutch, Mason the Fat Cyclist, Crawley, Lindley, Varty, Downing, Oxenham, Foden in here. Osman still in the mix. Looks like George Cooper still in there. A.D. Dench just about holding on to the coattails here. Then it is going to be our second of our Widowsons. Actually live not too far away from me, just down a little bit close to Chesterfield from me. Neil from the Crosscast, not going to be Neil's day up on the front, but interestingly, a rider who he's spent plenty of time at events riding and racing with. It's going to be Thomas Crappert immediately behind him. Then it's going to be Eddie Dowd-Leash. It looks like Gilbert then. Yeah, pop goes the weeders, all pop go people's legs. It is a brutal course, it's a tough course, but this is going to produce one heck of a winner. Brackenridge unable to hold our flying trio of riders at the front. It's Booker, Fraser and Hudson, the 3 riders. They've got to get in there now. Who's going to be able to hold the wheels? Who is going to do too much work? They've currently got 9 seconds on Brackenridge, 11 seconds on Cassidy, 12 on Mason. They're on the climb. So if you are a lighter rider or like a certain Mr. Booker, an incredible hill climber, then You've got a chance on here to make some ground. There are some dips and rises, but at the moment they are absolutely motoring. I think they're going to come up on a steep cannon any second. So I think Steve going to see him in the next few seconds as they come in around this turn. So here we go, Booker leading them through. Just going up around on the left-hand side of Cannon. Remember, they are going to get one lap to go and hit that archway on the way down. So this is our leaders at the moment. 3 riders clear, Hudson, Booker and Fraser. Then it is going to be Cassidy currently in 4th position at the moment. So Cassidy continuing to push, not letting that gap go. Doesn't want to be the caught out here. So Benny at the moment working very well, trying to keep that gap down immediately behind him. You can see that group being led by Dale Williams here. And interestingly, Dale Williams in different kit. Dale not usually in the yellow Zwift kit, normally in that pink and blue kit at the moment, in that yellow Zwift kit. So maybe just trying to disguise himself a little bit. If so, just giving the game away. So Dean Evans tucked in here, Ryan Crawley still in. It's like Russ just a touch a little behind, just holding on to that draft. We're going to go down onto the bridge, and this is where these riders are going to see our leaders. So here we go, our leaders already well down onto the bridge. This is the chasing group descending down here on the first week in November. November, of course, supported the DCG gang, supported by Gritty, who look after the riders. Remember the DCG gang, and you can see plenty of power being pushed in here as they come up here. You can see those numbers. Lindley putting out 11.6, Williams putting out 8 watts per kilo as they go stomping up over the top. They're led over by Varty. They've still got, though, a lot of work to do, because they're trying to close down on Booker, Hudson and Fraser, who are now at 18, I'll repeat that, 18 seconds. So nearly a third of a minute pulled out on some absolute class riders by 3 real stars to go. Very interesting, all on gravel bikes, all on basically the same bike. It's a bit like having a team time trial, isn't it, apart from different colours. Just making their way down this descent with that twin foil bar there. And at the moment they're going to come through. They are going to be on 1 lap to go when they hit the archway this time round. Can they continue to push that gap out? It's down to 17 seconds now. So our leaders here on the Donny Chaingang on Zwift, making their way in around that left-hand turn. They're going to come down in and through the archway. 1 lap left to go. 1 more loop round as they go underneath the arch. In underneath they go at the end of that lap. And I think there is some serious damage being done behind. Benny Cassidy really doing a lot of work here, pushing this group along. Come on, guys. Have you got the power to get in there? Have you got the pace to do so? It's not that huge. It's big, but it's not that big. The question is, are they going to do it? So Mason said, yep, we're going to go for them. Lindley's saying we're going to go for them. They've got to get the timing right here. So you can see the leaders on your screen just dropped out of the bottom of the screen down here. The power is on from Mason. The rest of them at the moment are not in his draft here. And they need to be smart here, guys. You've got to work together. If you work singularly or as a pair, you are not necessarily going to get them. But look at the gap. It's tumbling. It's absolutely tumbling here. They've gone from 18 seconds. They've got it down to 7 seconds. Hudson and Varty and Fraser could be in trouble. They're just in front of our riders. You can see them just around this bend, and this could be a catch made. And will they have burned up too much energy? There is some serious pace coming out of this pack behind. Look at the speed on this descent. They are absolutely flying down here. We're talking 40 plus mile an hour on gravel, and the catch is made. They've got him back. Now, is anybody going to be the naughty, cheeky one who goes attacking straight over the top? Ryan Crawley was right in the mix there, and it looked like he was going to be in danger of going over the top. He's now dropped out the back of that group. So the catch has been made. Here we go. This group is together, and it's 14 riders. 14 riders back together again. That is all that is left of 117 riders in the Donny Chaingang who are all set out together. 1 hour and 7, nearly 1 hour and 8 minutes ago. That leading group was whittled down. That ramped workout coming in. The question will be, who has got the pace now to take this out? We have less than 1 lap to go. Remember, we finish on that descent down after the rope bridge. The rope bridge climb could be the critical one as Hudson goes again. Is there no stopping this youngster? He's giving it another kick. 15 years old, putting out 7.5 watts per kilo. The question is going to be, can anyone go after him? Booker looking still like he's interested. And interestingly, although they made the catch, it's Hudson, Booker, and then it was going to be Fraser who was just chasing after. Now, Booker has gone again. Booker's trying to go after Hudson. Behind him is Oxenham, but he's just drifted back into the group, and at the moment, this could be another critical moment in this group. Fraser has not gone clear. 2 riders have, and at the moment, it is torn to pieces. Who is going to take this? I wouldn't want to put money on it being the gang. You saw how fast that gang closed down using the entire descent, but they don't have that long this lap. Remember, we finish halfway down the descent. They can't give the same amount of time out. They can't afford to give that sort of gap. And the riders that we've got on the front, you've got Hudson and you've got Booker, but Hudson's soloing at the moment. Booker is at 5 seconds, and the only thing he can see of Hudson is his dust. Just taking a look back from Greg Booker here, and you can see behind, I think it's going to be Fraser. It is so. Cameron Fraser is leading this chase at the moment. He's stretched the group. They're going to come up onto the wheels of Booker's. Booker's little escape was short-lived. I think getting away from this group is a bit like getting off Alcatraz. I'm not sure if it's basically escape or die, because that's the sort of effort you need to put in. Hudson has gone for it, but the question will be, can he escape clear and stay clear? It's no good if you're going to get recaptured and put back in the slammer by that group as you come into the finish. But at the moment, Hudson is the one rider who has got the gap, currently sitting at 12 seconds. What can the riders behind do about this? Well, they're not going to get him if they're sat across the road. I'm seeing 2.6s. I'm seeing 3 watts per kilo. And that is like waving a white flag at the moment, because if that is the numbers that they're going to put out, they're all racing for first loser and not first over the line. Well, this surely can't continue. It's not going to stay. Who is going to put something down here? Because they are basically handing it to Hudson. They surely have got more than one chasing their legs. The gap now is at 19 seconds. This is now the same as it was when they were chasing 3 riders. But they've got 1 rider clear, not 3 to chase, which should put the odds in their favour. However, the distance on that descent is less. There's less room to close back down again. Are we going to see the gap closed? Are we going to see anybody take out Harry Hudson, who's gone superbly clear here? He's pushing it on. He's currently sitting at 38.1k. And this youngster is really giving it to everyone else behind. Massive chasing group. So the big chasing pack, or what is left of it, is this group that we're looking at here. And this is essentially 11 riders left in that pack at the front, chasing that solo rider Hudson. but they've got some serious work to do. 16 seconds back from them is Hutch, then it's Oliver, then it's going to be Mason, then it's going to be Run It and Dalgleish and Co. All these riders, though, are left chasing. They've got riders who've been lapped in between as well, but these riders are leaving it late because, as you can see, that gap is now really opened up. Now we're going to let the riders go over the loop. It looks to me like Hudson has timed this to perfection. He went with that first group. They got pulled back. He went on the counter-attack pretty much as soon as it went uphill here. And at the moment, Hudson has got the gap. We're going to try and get our Cam up with him. Russ saying he's got an empty tank. I'm not surprised. Everybody has found their legs ripped to pieces at the moment. It's going to be Sammy B who is leading the pursuit, but no one's got anything left to answer Hudson. Hudson is going to be on the descent. He's gone, and I think that is it. There is going to be no more chase from the group behind. They've waved the white flag. They've said, right, Sunshine, I think this is going to be you. Is he off trick-or-treating? He's a day too late if he goes trick-or-treating. Now he's just going to end up with egg on his face. A bit like that group behind who could close him down. Hudson putting some serious power. He went twice. He's prepared to do work. He was doing his turns. Here he comes over the bridge. He's got 34 seconds. We should have enough time to come back up and look at the race powered by on Spice Weeks. Powered by Haribo. It is going to be Mr. Hudson. 15 years old, I wasn't getting Haribo when I was out trick-or-treating. No. I wanted them to say trick every time, but then again, I wasn't particularly an angel at that point in time. So it is going to be Hudson with the gap, 42 seconds. This is the chasing group. Who's going to go on the attack? Varty has put a little bit of a dig in here. Now we're in with Cassidy. We're going to take a little bit more of a closer look here. They've gone over the top. Varty's trying to respond. Cassidy has gone a little bit clear here. Now Lindley comes in the orange on the right-hand side. Big kick coming from Williams up over the top. They are on the top of that section of climb. At the moment, though, Hudson has got the gap on them. 25 seconds is the gap to Cassidy. That group has come basically back together again. Hudson is on his way down at some serious pace. He's got a couple more corners to go. We're going to jump back to the chasing group, see if anything's been done. Any damage done yet? Not really. They've lost the yellow beacon. Russ's legs have gone, I think, well and truly. A big kick coming from Varty going through. But this young man has done it today. Great riding. We know he's an absolute superstar, talented rider. And it's going to be Harry Hudson who's showcased today just how strong he is. Is it enough to win him a pro contract like Michael Vink has managed to do by his riding on the virtual world of esports? Well, we'll have to see. But a rider who has a bright future, it's Harry Hudson. He's only got a few more meters to go. He can see the gantry. Here he goes. It's Harry Hudson who takes it. Hudson takes when he knows exactly where that finishes. Williams has gone on the attack behind. We drop back as fast as we could. Williams has gone for this. It's going to be close as we come in to the finish. They are chasing behind. Booker's got more watts per kilo, but it's not far out, and in he goes. It's going to be Williams who goes through, and then in the dust it's Booker, Varty, Lindley, Breckenridge. It's going to be Fraser, Cassidy, Hepton, Dean Evans. Then we're going to see, I think, Sammy coming down as well. Absolutely manic. What a ride by Harry there to go clear twice. His erstwhile breakaway companion is not able to match his pace. Sammy B going through there from 6 a.m. Racing Squad. Good ride by him. Good to have you on board, Sammy. What a finish. Absolutely mental. So Hutch is going to be our next rider in to the line of being chased here by Phil Oliver. Behind him, he's got two very class sprinters indeed. Are we going to see anything out of Russ or Mr. Mason? I think they're just going to roll on the way through. Tom Lindley, why can't I be like him? Tom, you are on occasion. Don't worry, buddy. Russ down in Beacon, the fan, and of course, one of our key workers doing a lot of the behind the scenes as well as riding. Makes his way through. That's basically what you do on the social media. Certain job I absolutely despise. and of course also a rider who has all the routes to dream up and plan and make sure that we get everybody on board. But lots of work being done, of course, by Emma, who is covering all the full speed events, social media, job by the spies, and also, of course, running the WOW DCG, making sure she coordinates all of the red and yellow beacons at the moment, plans the routes, and of course is also giving lots of advice on the way through. So it's going to be Fionn Gilbert's going to come through for the Electric Spirit, taking away fastest female finisher today, ahead of Neil from the cross-course from Gritty. Well done to Harry, and well done to Neil. And great to have the support of Gritty on board. As soon as you finish, so Neil, get back to your editing. Let's get that crosscast out too. Now, Bertie Widowson, whose legs, he said, went pop, just make his way through the line. Then it's going to be Pillsworth, being followed then by Sharp Raccoon West, Bobby Mason. Just one lap down, I think, on his way through. Tom Crapper with Finley behind him. Tom, don't get caught. That's a big group coming. Here they come. Are they going to get him? Let's jump in with Finley. I think he's just on the front of this group, but I wouldn't want to bet against Tom Crapper. Tom, is he going to notice? Is he going to see them coming? He surely is. Has he got anything left in the tank to do anything about it? Here comes Finley over the top, but Finley's in danger here. Going to be in danger. Oh, it looked to me like Leo got it there. Sorry, Speo got it there, so Speo gets it there. Gail Forrester, Hawkins, Wilson coming through. Forey coming in through. Dr. D goes in and through. Massive group of riders going in and through. Finley doing the business there. And looks like Rich Orrell going in through that with that pack. Neil Tukey going in through the finish. Just in with, I think this is our next group. I'm not going to swear to that because I'm just trying to catch up with who is our next riders in. So a monster of a route on Gritty week here today. 1:18 of riding for Neil Tukey, who is on his way in to the finish. Will it be a sprint between him and El Capo? I'm not sure it will, but they've got to come out from this left-hand turn. Who's going to wind it up? Do they both know exactly where that finishes? Yeah, look at this. Tukey certainly does. He's got this dialed. He's going to come in front of Capo here underneath the line he goes. Then it's going to be Vin Donahoe. Vin, of course, one of the stalwarts of the gang who made the riding happen. Then it's Hilbert, Clark Gales. This will be Terminator T2.0. Nath coming through. Then I think it's going to be a license. Amazing riding here today. So license in and through. We're going back to Neil Morn. He's our next rider out on circuit. So Neil on his run in to the finish here now. Just goes in underneath the stone arch that signifies the end of the ride. And Ben Kokid immediately behind. And then I think it's going to be Sadler and Killingsworth. So a tough day at the office for our riders. It ain't easy. It's Donny Chaingang. And what a route. I think Russ played a blinder with that one. A great pick of route. Very different to a lot of the gravels we've done with the much quicker changing ascent and descent. Not that massive long ride up Serpentine 8. Great to see just how hard everybody was working. I think there's going to be some serious power being put down by people. They may not get the fastest times for the distance, but there's going to be some big power down there. So Mike Killingsworth, one of our regular beacons, goes through in front of Senior. Then it's going to be Ruben McLardy being followed by, I think, Wharfdale Phil. David Campbell's just on his way in as well. I'm not sure if Dave's actually going to be on the same lap or as a late joiner. So Campbell making his way underneath that gantry. We'll get a clearer indication once we get our riders round and through their finishing point. Remember, once you're underneath this arch, it is all going to be about making sure that you spin your legs down. Everyone just was great whatever, and everyone great one. That I think it was an absolute gem of a route. I don't know if everyone's going to rush back to do it, but that's the great thing now. George Bradman, good ride by George here, one of our new riders here. Chris Green in there with, I think it's going to be in from the Stellaton coming through. Brilliant riding there on the way in, and good to see the riders really getting that honed. Some real mix of routes this month. It is really going to be key. Make sure you do your homework. Even better, make sure you join the DCG gang and you'll get a heads up of where we are heading out on to the circuits and who is going to do the homework right, who's going to get that sorted. Just taking a little bit of a look at where people are roughly on this course. So there are riders basically all over the place. That's the politest thing I can say. There are riders everywhere. It's smashed to pieces. Now, here we go. Paul Coleman on his way through. Good to see Paul. Great pictures of Paul actually out racing them quite a while ago. Little time ago. Paul coming in through underneath our gantry. He's going to be followed by Ted. Ted with that hat and a nice little jaunty angle there as he drops down. He's got John Garford. John's going to be our red beacon next week. John putting a bit of a kick in here. And great to see the Royal Navy Royal Marine Cycling Association rider looking to try and close down on Ted. Oh, Ted's a weight to it. Ted's going to just take that. He does. Garford almost had him there, but not quite enough in the legs. Rich Langmead, another of our red beacons, making his way down and through. So Andy Horse got one lap to go when he hits the line this time. Andy, we're going to let you roll your way through, and then we're going to be coming back to you again. So be breathing in at that moment to get your heart rate down, get your breathing smooth. We're going to jump in the opposite direction, because we are going to be on the hunt for Mr. Bayliss, I think. So I think Carl Lake joining just finishing as he goes underneath there. I think Carl joined in late, not 100% certain on that. He's going to make his way down. We'll know when we get round onto our next lap. Then he goes through. Then it's going to be Bayliss. Now, John Finney definitely not going to miles on the clock to come in on the start. So we're going to focus on those people who we know are definitely finishing. So well done to Chris Bayliss. Chris goes in through the line. 1:24.13 for Chris as he goes underneath the gantry there. He's going to finish ahead of this group of riders. A great group this. We've got Lone Rider all in black. You've got Carl Briggs in here. So, sorry, I haven't got Chris Canham in here. And then Chris leading them out, I think. So Chris Canham leading this group in towards the line. Chris is surely going to have this. He's a big power monster. In he goes. So Chris goes through. Then it's Chris Ball going through with Lone Rider immediately after. Then it's going to be Carl Briggs. Carl coming in that La Squadra. Kept the Pinarello Appreciation Owners Club just on his way down. He's ahead of Owens, Dooley, Jessup, Mason, Andy Hawes and Co. So a warm day for our riders out on the course. Warm day for us in the studio as well. I think the humidity of that jungle definitely starting to seep its way in through the studios as well. So definitely a route that showed who has got that power on the gravel. A real tough, gritty route. Interesting to see who had the pace to stay with the leading group as it came through. So Carl Briggs goes through. Next up is going to be Owens. A Marmite course, definitely love it or hate it, and probably both at once, to be honest. So Owens in through underneath the gantry. Next rider on the actual course itself, I think, is Dooley with Jessup, Mason. So Rodney, just taking a little look. Chris Ball will finish. So that should mean that Dooley will be our next finisher. Dooley on the way to the rope bridge, which means a little bit of a chance to do two things. A little bit of admin, but before that, Sandra about here. It's not going to be me. So I'm going to do some serious rehydration, don't mind you? Time to grab some OTE. So at the moment, Dooley, our next rider on the way through. So, whilst Dooley makes his way in, some quick housekeeping for you. I told you it was warm in the studio today. Absolutely sweating cobs down here. Fortunately, got one of the better t-shirts on. Obviously, pretty gritty one because it is gritty week. So, whilst we just see John making his way around these turns in towards the rope bridge, a quick reminder, please, guys. Remember, if you're going to register, make sure you put your full details in to the registration. We want to know who's on the ride. Not because we pass your details on to anybody. We don't even give our prize winners' details to the sponsors. We give our sponsors' details to the prize winners. That is how much we got it. We basically treat your data and details like we'd want ours treated. That's just simply because we don't like it being spread out everywhere. Really simple. So please, guys, make sure you put your details in. It means that if we do have an issue with a rider or if there's any issues at all, we can get back. Also, if you need some help, we can get straight in touch with you and help you out, which we do on a regular basis. My post Donny Chaingang broadcast generally involves walking the dog, having multiple phone calls with people, either because they've got a problem or because maybe they're rich up. Today, there's going to be no bad phone calls, and I don't think there's any good phone calls. I think it was all about the gang did exactly what they said on the tin. We'll have a little check of social media. If you aren't going on social media and you're going to put the post, so go onto the Facebook page and put it in there. Please, if you're going to go on Instagram, do some tagging in there so that we can send it back out and round and spread the word about the chain gang and the word that's gone in. So tag in Russ Russ Downing. Please tag in at Full Speed Events. You sit down there over there. Full Speed Events at Matt Fix Paint and at Russ Downing and at Downing Cycling. Please put it in, or you tag in the Donny Chaingang and Full Speed Events. Or the more you tag in, the easier it is for us to spread it around and therefore get that publicity. It means that the people who support the gang and the riders, so the people that you can see just up there, 1080, OTE, Gritty, Continental, Nonnas, Velaskin, Halo, all get that support. They all get the kudos of looking after the gang. The more gang riders we have on there, so long as they behave themselves, the more fun it is for everybody else. And of course, we have the registration there so that we can patrol that. There have been riders who don't come back, who go through the suspension and then a longer suspension, or go straight, in fact, to off your trot, go somewhere else. Please, guys, make sure you put your details in. If you don't put it in, you'll be assumed to be one of those people who is told to go trot off and go ride on something else, trying to get back in again. We want our riders to have fun. The aim is to make sure that everybody's supported on there. We'll try and help everybody in whatever way we can, and it's always last resort that we boot people out. It doesn't happen very often. Next, a few bits of housekeeping. If you think you love the Chain Gang so much, if you find it so beneficial, if you just want to say thanks, or if you did a scratch card and happened to win 25 quid and think, do you know what? I can think of a great place that could go. That would be helping us pay for the costs of running the Chain Gang. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, we have a Chain Gang rolling. We send out emails on a Saturday, maybe a Sunday, on a Tuesday, on a Thursday. We have ticketing happening non-stop. We have bills coming in for streaming, restreaming, for all of the software. If you think we use all of this to broadcast, we don't actually. Some of this is used for the broadcast, but a lot of this is actually just because we need so much processing power to deal with the ride and to broadcast it. Russ, of course, has a whole pain cave operation and communication centre that he has to be able to talk to everybody on, so he needs to get that detail in as well. So please make sure that you put the appropriate funds in if you want to join the gang. Now, our next finisher is going to be Dooley. We're going to jump back in. Dooley finishing the gang ahead of Claire Jessup. Great riding by Claire. Claire, the finishing just behind John Dooley. Claire, another of our regulars on the Chaingang, now heading on to that warm down section. Behind Bobby Mason, just on his way into that descent, I think. He's done the rope bridge. He's gone over the top, and so he's just, over that rope bridge. Behind is going to be Andy Halls along with Sir Rodney, and they're coming up the climb and heading into that right-hand turn. So Dooley and Jessup on their warm down. Bobby Mason on to his final descent. We'll sit in with Bobby for a little while. Now I'm going to get a ride in with Bobby at some point, actually out on some gravel tarmac mud. Or maybe we might just go for a coffee and cake, who knows. On his way down, he's got some big hills around here. Not as big as the Peak District, but big enough. So whilst Bobby's on his way down, don't forget you can catch up with lots more action here at Full Speed Events. We are bringing a lot of sport out on to the screens. We have the Donny Chaingang on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the WOW DCG on Wednesdays, all co-produced by myself and Russ, with assistance from Emma, from Gail, from all of our beacons. But essentially, the Donny Chaingang is a co-production between Russ and myself, Matt Payne. We work together to make sure it all comes out. We have the WOW DCG. Emma runs all of the admin behind the scenes on that one with the support, and it all helps sort of keep the Chaingang rolling and gets new riders on there as well. We also broadcast a lot of the UCI races. We were at Mass Mechelen for the cyclocross last weekend. We produce and stream out content for a lot of those UCI races. In fact, this coming weekend, due to be putting words to the action for the indoor cycling. So that is going to be cycleball and artistic cycling. So cycleball is basically, think, five-side football for two people on bikes, using the bike's front wheel or back wheel to hit the ball in the net. Artistic cycling is like doing a gymnastics routine on the handlebars or on the seat of the bike, and you've probably seen that. It uses the same court. The weekend after, going to be out in Abu Dhabi for the Trials World Championships and for the BMX Flatland and Park World Championships. And that week there will be a couple of interruptions on the broadcast. The week after that, we've got an exciting project coming up through the week which may interrupt the broadcast, and we have, of course, lots more coverage of esports cycling. We cover a lot of cycling. If you want to know what, where, when and how, give us a follow. It's at Full Speed Events. As you see Bobby making his way down. So Bobby on his way in and heading into that descent, which means we can go back to Andy and Sir Rodney, who I think are about to hit the bridge. So our two riders come in to the bridge. Got to say a massive thank you to Russ. Great route tonight, great leading it as well. It's really, really tough to keep the gang together on that route around that circuit. So a massive, massive thank you to Russ. As always great to work with him. Thank you very much to Andy. Andy Horse, our red beacon, looking after the bus, making sure everybody's rolling smoothly and gets into the finish. Got to say a massive thank you to all of our riders. Thank you everybody for jumping on. Russ and I never dreamed we'd get more than about 20-30 people. Maybe take us an hour a week to look after the gang. Oh, well, boy, were we wrong. It's become a real institution. It is known worldwide. Even get people on the UCI, etc. And even the team on the European TV production going, you do that, Donny Chaingang. That looks amazing. That's how much its word has spread, and it's because of our riders, because everybody plays the game. So a big, big thank you to our riders. A big thank you if you're watching this and you don't ride. You just want to be some of the best riders and see people looking after each other. It's a real good, feel-good story. And the riders have indeed looked after each other, not just on screen, but also out in the bigger, wider world out there. And that really has been essential in making sure that the riders are still out and riding, from supporting our younger riders right the way through to looking after people who maybe not quite in the place they wanted to be. So there's a lot of support out there. Please, guys, if you do need help, shout out, jump on the Facebook page. Make sure you talk to your fellow riders on the DCG. So Rodney and Andy on their final rundown at the moment, just riding in with Sir Rodney and Andy here. So let's jump on with Sir Rodney first. Sir Rodney, one of our regular riders. You can see a regular rider on Swift on that Tron bike, on the Swift Concept 1, as it's officially called, and nobody ever says that. And it is absolutely a cracking piece of machinery. 50,000 metres of ascent has to be covered to get hold of that, which is a lot of riding on Swift, and it always pays to hit the button first when you first jump on to the platform, is the first challenge you do. Being led in by the one and only Andy Hawes. Andy, of course, Pinarello ambassador, a regular on the Chaingang, a long-time colleague of mine, and somebody who I will one day manage to get out for a ride with once again, somewhere fun. But great to see Andy doing the business here. We always knew we were in safe hands on the gang. So as our riders make the way in through from the finish down into the warm down, well done to Sir Rodney and to Andy Hawes. We're going to let them warm down. I'm going to go find an OT recovery drink. It's warmer and tough stuff stood down here, not as tough as today's ride on the gritty month. Ride number 1 has kicked off with an absolute corker here today. So from me, Matt Payne, from Russ, from all of our supporters of the Chaingang, make sure you tune in tomorrow. It is WOW DCG on Volcano After Party. We are expecting the fireworks and the eruption to happen as we come in. Our red and yellow beacons, absolutely 2 regular riders, Lisa Jane Lake on red and Laura Lawson on yellow beacon duty. Let's see where that go is called. Where will the action really spark into gear? Well, you'll have to tune in to find out. From me, Matt, from everyone on the Donny Chaingang, stay safe, enjoy yourselves. We'll see you for the next Donny Chaingang soon.